to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the Countdown to Kickoff show here at DolphinsTalk.com on this Monday, September the 30th. We are a few hours away from the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins Monday Night Football at Hard Rock Stadium. And a must-win game for the Dolphins. Let's not sugarcoat this or sort of tap dance around what's going on here. They need to win this game in the worst way, as they only have one win on the season, 1-2. They did not look good at all last week versus Seattle. So this is a big, big game, and we're going to get into everything taking place with it here on today's show. But before we get to that, a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Caneswear is a place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, the Heat, the Hurricanes, excuse me, the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a gift, or the newest hat to hit the market for your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. You're not in South Florida? Don't worry. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home. And yes, they ship internationally as well. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com. If you need Miami Dolphins gear, hats, jerseys, shirts, polos, t-shirts, everyone, please go to Caneswear.com and check out their website. Also, before I get into the show, Dolphins Talk Extra tonight, when the game is going on between the Titans and the Miami Dolphins. If you are a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber, you can join our watch along. And it's not just any watch along, it's an interactive watch along. So Josh, Aaron, and myself will be on our YouTube channel that's behind the paywall. And you can come on the screen with us and watch the game live in real time. Talk to us when the game is taking place as it is happening. It's an interactive watch along only to those who are subscribed to Dolphins Talk Extra. So if you want to subscribe, go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's either $3 or $5 a month. And sign up. You still got a few hours. And tonight when the game's going on, you can join us in the chat. And if you ever want to watch a game with Josh, Aaron, or myself, you can chat with us. First guess, not second guess, and hear our thoughts in real time as the game's going on. That's patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's cheap. It'll be fun. And you can join us on our live watch along. Okay, let's get to the news. For those who haven't heard yet, Tyler Huntley will be starting at quarterback for the Dolphins. I would guess Tim Boyle's the backup, and Skylar Thompson will be the emergency third-string quarterback, just because it sounded like Skylar is just not healthy. Because I'm sure if he was healthy, he would be starting. Because here's the thing with Huntley. Can it be worse than last week? No. But he's only been here for a cup of coffee, and he does not understand, 1/8 of this playbook. So I would expect a very bland game plan today, which is fine. Very dumbed down type of offense. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see a little bit of Tim Boyle sprinkled in as well. If there's a play or two that they really want to call that Huntley just hasn't had time to work on or doesn't understand the concept, if we see Tim Boyle sprinkled in every here and there and sort of see, Huntley's going to get 75, 80% of the snaps, if not more. Maybe Tim Boyle gets 10% and they run a few plays with him just because he kind of understands what's going on as he's been here longer. Not much longer, but he's been here longer than Tyler Huntley. I would say this too with Huntley. The first half of the game, I think Miami might be able to catch the Titans a little bit off guard. They probably don't know what to expect from Huntley and what Miami's going to do. I think in the second half where you got to kind of worry in that, does Mike McDaniel have an adjustment? Are they going to catch on to, okay, they're only running these like 8 plays or some variation of these 8 plays. So we got to sort of we have to stop those stop those plays, I should say, and let's see what they can do as a counter move. I don't know if there is a counter move. So that Tyler Huntley's a starting quarterback. Kendall Fuller, the cornerback, and Teron Armstead, the offensive tackle, are both out. They're in the concussion protocol. We'll see. They're not going to play this game. Next week they're at the Patriots. Then there's a bye. If they're healthy enough to play next week, fine. If not, I would probably plan on seeing them after the bye week. In other injury news, it doesn't really affect this game so much. There's an NFL Network report that Odell Beckham Jr. will resume practicing this Wednesday, as he is now, after this game tonight on Monday, he is eligible to come off the PUP list. So he can begin practicing Wednesday, which opens up his 21-day window to return, meaning once he starts to practice, the Miami Dolphins have 21 days to take him off the PUP list and put him on the active roster. If they don't after 21 days, then he's out for the season, which nobody expects that. So Odell Beckham might be back in time for the Patriots game. Again, makes more logical sense to hold him out until after the bye week, since after the Patriots game, you got to bye. Just give him more time to get acclimated to this offense, because he's never played with anybody on this offense before at all. And plus now down to a third-string quarterback. That's not going to change for the Patriots game. It'll still be Huntley next week, most likely. Or maybe they go back to Skyler. Just something there to keep an eye on. When it comes to some other players on the PUP list, Bradley Chubb and Isaiah Wynn, don't expect either of them to be practicing anytime soon. Yes, after tonight's game versus the Titans, they are eligible to come off, but Isaiah Wynn is most likely out for the season. When Chris Grier was asked about this late August with the final cuts and he spoke to the media, he gave an answer that was very evasive, it was just a weird answer that made it sound like Wynn might be out for the season, or if he is eligible to come back, it might not be till like November or December. So I would think don't expect Wynn to practice anytime soon, unless they're flat out lying to us, which I never put it past them. And when it comes to Bradley Chubb, he got hurt week 17 last year. That's a 9+ month injury. We're just getting to that 9-month mark right around now, honestly. And he's probably not going to be ready for late October, first part of November. And when we start talking about late October, first part of November, with how this season has started, then you got to factor in what's their record going to be. If they're 1-7, if they're 2-9, what are you bringing them back for at that point? Your season's over. And he also might be a trade chip too, where if he's healthy enough to be traded at the deadline, if you're out of it, Miami, if you're out of it, not saying they will be, saying if, he's someone who could probably fetch a 6th or 7th round pick. Same thing with Raheem Mostert. He was also, there's an NFL Network report out just a few hours ago, will not play tonight with a chest injury. And he's also someone, if the season goes sideways, again, if, someone like Chubb, like Armstead, like Mostert, the old guys who won't be here next year, Miami can part with, get a 6th or 7th round pick. I know it's not much in return, but again, if you're like 1-8, who cares? They're not going to be here next year. You already have the replacements in Chop Robinson for Chubb, Patrick Paul for Armstead, Jaylen Wright for Mostert. You don't want progress stoppers in front of them, guys who are going to play and stop the progress of your future, especially when you have no chance of the playoffs, which we're not there yet, but saying if, which is not a far-fetched thing here to be thinking about. So this game is big for many reasons. Number one, if you paid attention on Sunday, the Bills lost, the Jets lost, and the Patriots lost. This is a week where Miami can sort of, make up ground in the AFC East a little bit here. And it's tough to say any game in week 4 of the NFL season is quote-unquote must win. This game for Miami is must win, based on the fact they don't have their starting quarterback, no time frame for when he's going to return, if he's going to return. You were utterly embarrassed last week in Seattle, where you didn't even put up a fight. Like, the team didn't even show up. And if they can't take advantage of a home game versus arguably the worst team in the league, although some people might say Miami's one of the worst teams in the league, so I get it, but arguably against the worst team in the league in the Tennessee Titans, they're down there with the Panthers right now, then you're just hopeless. I mean, if you can't, and, the fact that they have a backup quarterback in is not an excuse. There's teams each week winning games with backup quarterbacks. The Minnesota Vikings are 4-0 with a backup quarterback. Carolina won last week, scored 36, almost won this week versus the Cincinnati Bengals. There's teams. The Packers didn't lose a game without Love. I mean, teams with back, that's not an excuse. So, yeah, this might be week 4. It's must win. And anyone who's telling you it's not must win is lying to themselves. Because I don't care. I see a lot of Dolphins fans saying, oh, the schedule's easy. The schedule's easy. Folks, we're not good enough to say any schedule's easy. We look at the Patriots. Oh, they stink. We stink right now. We stink. So it's like this. There's no such thing as an easy schedule this season for the Dolphins. Every game is going to be a dogfight. And they need, though, to come out versus the Tennessee Titans with a win. Because if you can't beat the Titans at home, what's your odds when you go to the Bills in about 1 month? You don't beat the Bills anyway. I mean, so there's so many tough games in front of Miami. They got to sort of, win some of these games, especially at home. Because if you start off the season 1-3, when you've already had 3 home games, that means there's not many more home games the rest of the season. So that's why this game is must win. It's totally must win. And it's going to be tough. I know the Titans aren't good, but they are 0-3. But they, week 1 versus the Bears, they didn't give up an offensive touchdown to Chicago. They lost because of turnovers. Week 2 versus the Jets, it went down straight to the wire. This team could very easily be 2-1, and then the outlook people would have of the Titans would be very, very different than the one they do now. I think these are 2 teams that both want to win badly right now for various reasons. For the Titans, they want to get a win on the board, and they want to, get in the mix here. And for the Dolphins, they know another loss is just going to continue the snowballing of negativity that has been the first 3 weeks of the season with the losing, not playing well, the injury to Tua. It's just both of these teams. I think it's going to be a feisty game tonight. I wouldn't be shocked to see a lot of personal foul penalties. I think both these teams need this win in the worst way, and they're going to be out there playing like it's a Super Bowl because a loss to either one pretty much ends their season. I mean, I think for the Titans, they don't have lofty heights of trying to make the playoffs, but any hope they have would go away at 0-4. And for the Dolphins, like I said, at 1-3, when you've already played 3 home games with the schedule you have coming up, Thanksgiving on, your season's over. So I think this is going to be a dogfight for both teams. Neither team really has looked good at all this year. The Titans, like I said, 0-3, week 1, handed the game away. Week 2 versus the Jets didn't play well, but they were in it mainly because the Jets didn't ever put them away. Then last week, the Titans didn't look great. And then for Miami, outside of a Javon Holland forced fumble in week 1, they would easily be 0-3 as well. And they were embarrassed by the Bills, like they always are. And last week in Seattle was that game last week in Seattle for Miami was arguably the worst game I've seen this Miami Dolphins franchise play in maybe 20 years. And that's saying something. That's really saying something. So we will see. There's some key matchups here. I would, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, I'd keep your eyes on for tonight. Number 1 key matchup with no Kendall Fuller, and with how bad that Jordan Poyer's played this season. The Tennessee Titans wide receivers of Hopkins, Ridley, and Tyler Boyd versus Miami secondary, which is going to be consisted of Jaylen Ramsey, obviously, and it's probably also no Storm Duck tonight. So you're going to look at Ramsey, Kader Kohu, whoever they call from the practice squad, like an Ethan Bonner maybe. And then you got Holland at safety. Then you have a liability in Jordan Poyer, who's just been so bad this year. Versus those 3 wide receivers, that might be, if we see Will Levis coming out slinging it around, I understand why. They probably think they have a huge edge with their wide receivers, which aren't bad. I mean, Hopkins is a Hall of Famer. Ridley is sensational. And Tyler Boyd, when he's your third, that's pretty dang good. So Miami secondary will be tested. This would be a game where you'd love to have Cam Smith, but he's on PUP, and who knows when we'll see him. And like I said, no Storm Duck and no Kendall Fuller. So the Dolphins secondary will be tested tonight, and Will Levis is going to attack it for sure. That's one of the key matchups. The other key matchup I think is interesting is how does Miami's offensive line slow down the Tennessee Titans front 7? Jeffrey Simmons, their big guy in the middle. Probably he's not playing, but still, you have Harold Landry, who absolutely destroyed Miami last year. Tavondre Sweat, who's a very good rookie. Kenneth Murray at one linebacker. Arden Key at another linebacker spot. Their front seven's pretty dang good. And as we know, this Miami Dolphins offensive line stinks. Once again, no spin, not hating, just stating. There's no Armstead. Will we see Patrick Paul start? I think there's a chance. They'll probably go Lamb to start, but I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see some Patrick Paul in this game. So they're going to be weak there. Left guard has been an utter dumpster, and that's saying a lot with all the offensive line. Robert Jones has been brutal. Robert Jones looks like he shouldn't play in the UFL, let alone the NFL. At center, Aaron Brewer is going up against his former team. He's been all right. Nothing to write home about. And then he gets to Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson. So can Miami's offensive line with a backup left tackle and a horrible left guard, can they slow down the Tennessee Titans pass rush, and can they open any holes for Achane to run? Now, I know everyone's hoping that Mike McDaniel will sort of run the ball more this week. I have my doubts. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he does run the ball more because he needs to run the ball more because, A, your offensive line, which stinks, is better at run blocking than pass blocking, so play to its strength. And you're really on a fourth-string quarterback because one's Tua, two's Skyler, three's Tim Boyle. Huntley's technically your fourth-string quarterback. I know some people don't consider him that, but he really is at the end of the day. And he's just been here for like a week or so. So I would say make life easier on Huntley. And plus, Achane's been since he's the one lone bright spot. Jake Bailey and Devon Achane are the only bright spots for the Miami Dolphins right now this season. So I would love to see them get him the ball and sort of, run the ball more and take a little bit off the plate here, Tyler Huntley, in his first start with the Dolphins. The other thing, too, with Huntley, got to be careful about, the Titans secondary has L'Jarius Sneed, and Sneed absolutely owned Tyreek Hill last year in the two meetings Miami had with the Chiefs. So you're going to have Sneed shadow Hill all night. And I'm not saying he's going to make Hill a non-factor, but don't expect a big night from Hill if I had to guess. So that means Waddle has to step it up. Jonnu Smith against his old team has to step it up. And any other wide receiver who lines up at wide receiver, and I have no idea who it's going to be, needs to step it up because Sneed does a fantastic job against Hill historically. So that's where the Dolphins are. This is I know everyone looks at the Titans and they go, oh, they stink. That's an easy win. Again, where Miami's at with the injuries. Also, I forgot to mention Dolphins linebacker. This doesn't help either. David Long, not expected to play. So if you're the Dolphins, no Kendall Fuller, no Storm Duck, no Long, no Mostert, no Armstead, you're down, key play. Long is the heart and soul of that entire defense. You take out Long and you take out Kendall Fuller. The Titans might look like a competent offense tonight. And then if you're Miami, you're trying to navigate things with Tyler Huntley. And this game really will be a statement game for Mike McDaniel. Labeled an offensive genius, which we've all kind of waiting to see the genius, especially this year. He really has to navigate this game. He cannot run the offense he wants to run. And if he doesn't understand that, then there's going to be a larger conversation after this game. Mike McDaniel has to call a game that fits his quarterback with his knowledge of this playbook after only a week and with the talent he has there. Knowing your offensive line is weak, run the ball more and get your quarterback out of the pocket, throw on the run, and stuff like that. Find creative ways to get the ball to Waddle. Find creative ways to get the ball to Hill, because just lining up and running your offense with a fourth-string quarterback or a third-string quarterback, however you want to look at them, ain't going to be successful. So really, this is a huge game for Mike McDaniel in a lot of ways, really in a lot of ways. So this should be interesting. This will absolutely be an interesting game for the Dolphins tonight. They are 2.5-point favorites. Look, if you're betting, I love to bet. If you're laying points, 2.5 with the Dolphins, I really hope you win. I did predict Tennessee to win the game 21-10, and I know this sort of pregame show has been more on like the negative side, but again, with all the injuries and what we saw last week for Seattle, I don't have a lot of high hopes here for the Dolphins. The fact they're at home should help some. The fact that Tennessee's not the strongest team in the league should help some. But again, the Tennessee strengths, wide receiver, is going to be attacking a Miami secondary, which might be weak tonight. The Tennessee front seven with Landry and Sweat and some of those other guys sort of attacking a weak Miami offensive line. Tennessee's got some favorable matchups here. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want this entire season to be over in week 4 on September 30th when I put my head down tonight on my pillow to go to sleep. But that's how big this game is. And it's going to take the Miami Dolphins to bring their A game and for the head coach to navigate this to win. They're 2.5-point favorites. I would not bet this game. If anything, you bet the under and just hope it's an utter mess, like a 13-10 mess. But I would not bet this game with your money. I wouldn't bet this game. I don't see how you can lay points with the Dolphins at all. So that's that. Again, everyone in the AFC East lost. So if you're in Miami, you can capitalize here. And I see a lot of fans of the Dolphins online trolling the Bills. Wow, any Dolphins fan can troll Josh Allen and the Bills blows my mind. They've beaten us, 14 out of 16 times? The last 16 times we played them. We never beat them. They lost at the Ravens, probably one of the 5 best teams in the league. Don't troll Dolphins fans. It's a bad luck. Don't troll Bills fans. Don't troll Josh Allen. Just zip your lip and go into hiding until someday maybe then you can troll them. And also with the Jets, don't troll them either. They've won 2 games. You've only won 1. You don't troll them until you pass them in the standings. Just Dolphins fans got enough to worry about with their own team. It's a horrible look when you're out there trolling the Bills and Jets when we are coming off a performance like we did versus Seattle last week. And then who knows what's going to happen tonight. Games on ESPN. There's going to be a second Monday night game on ABC, but this game's going to be on ESPN. Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick. Those guys are pretty good. But again, you don't want to watch it with them. You can turn down the volume. And if you're a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber, watch it with Josh Aaron and myself. We're behind a paywall there. It's going to be loose language and it's probably going to be a lot of fun. So patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Once again, $3 or $5 a month to whichever tier you sign up for. And you can join us live on our stream, which is only available to Dolphins Talk Extra subscribers. Hoping for the best tonight. Hoping I got to eat my words on a few of the things I said on today's show. We will see. But this Miami Dolphins team has an uphill battle tonight versus the Tennessee Titans, and it should be interesting to say the least. Tom and myself will be live after the game with the post-game wrap-up show, so be sure you are online for that. Everyone, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.